It's the Pubcast. I've gone with it. I'm sticking with it. I don't care. It's just the Pubcast.
We're gonna need to change our logo and stuff.
No, I still like it being the Minnesota Pubcast, so it puts people in, they know the location, but we don't have to say it every time. I think that's just the big thing.
I think today we need to because we have a special guest that is talking specifically about Minnesota beer.
Oh, God, yeah. Good point. Thanks for throwing that in there.
So.
Well, first of all, why don't we start it out with first things first. This is what we're talking about today, guys.
Oh, wait.
Those are no sound effects. That's the real deal there.
Mm-hmm. Yum.
Nothing like a good old PBR.
Oh.
Yeah, you look like you love it.
I love
That's
it.
right
I
up your
never
alley.
drink beer, and I'm having some.
No, it's oh yeah, that's true. You can't really drink regular beer, but you can have a little bit, right? You're not gonna be.
Oh yeah, I'll be fine.
You're fine.
Oh, this
So
is
you
good.
look like it's Pepto-Bismol. Like you have like that face right now.
I'm so used to sweet, like overtly sweet ciders, and I have a beer, and I'm like, whoa.
Wow, I gotta put that down.
Okay.
That's a sound effect.
Yeah,
we'll
get
use
that on the
later.
soundboard.
Wow. Anyway, so the other voice you hear in the room today is Jerry Fagerberg from the City Pages. How are you today, man? Welcome back.
Howdy.
Thanks
Good
for
to be
coming
here.
back on the show. Happy New Year. We had him on, and all of you should go back and listen to. It was the 12 Beers of Christmas was what your piece was that time, but. By no means do you have to get into the Christmas spirit to go back and check out that show and also check out that piece. But today we're here to talk about the official Minnesota Tallboy, which your piece is on the cover of the City Pages today.
It is on the cover. Came out today.
That is awesome.
Congrats.
And we were already interested in the story. We already wanted to have you on, but now since it's on the cover, I mean, of course we have to have you on.
Yeah. Now I feel like I should charge you.
Well, you know what? We're going to get you at least 3 more readers. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
nice.
come
At
on. This is
least.
worth it for you. This
Yeah.
is really worth it for
If
you.
that translates to tweets, that measurable.
That's true.
You do need stats. I understand. Well, it's interesting. We start, if we want to get into your piece here.
Sure.
We start with PBRs, which is what we're sipping on right now.
Yep. These are actually leftover beers from when I wrote the piece.
Nice.
3 weeks ago. So
No,
you could tell how much I liked them. That in a couple weeks I
That they
still have
still
3
lasted?
left from a 6-pack.
Yum.
That's the way I know, too, when I get beer samples from reps and they sit in my fridge forever. I know that's how much I liked them.
What's that aftertaste? The PBR aftertaste.
It's the can.
It's
It tastes
the
just like the
aluminum.
can.
It's the can, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is like a whole new world for me.
I don't think you're allowed to drink PBR out of anything but a can. Though.
No,
don't
that's
think
the thing.
so.
You don't. I never drink beer out of a can. I pour it out every single time. But
Yeah.
if you're drinking a PBR, or if and speaking of tall boys, which we're talking about here, you always gotta have the can. It's part of the whole process.
And most pint glasses don't hold a pint anyway. So
That's true. And it kind of tastes like, it tastes like metal. Like might have a stroke or something. You know what I mean? It's like, am I drinking a PBR or am I having stroke symptoms?
See, no, that's funny because what I taste when I'm drinking a PBR is like the cabin. I'm summer days. Where you're not trying to drink heavy beer and you're just kind of laying, kind of kicking back. That's what PBR. Brings
yeah, if
me
you
to.
take it out of the context of 18-degree snowy Minnesota, I think it makes a little more sense.
Yes, it's a
kind of-
summer beer.
It's like metal water.
It tastes like warm beer even when it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it.
It's like you open your cooler for the first time in May, and it's been there all winter, and it's like, oh, there's a beer still in there, and that's what it tastes like. It tastes like that beer
And
every
they all
time.
taste the same.
I think that's actually how they age it. They just leave it in the basement for 6 months.
You gotta appreciate the consistency, though. It is the same every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Warm, cold, no matter where you got it. How many beers are we going through here? I forget. How many tall boys did you rank?
I don't know. I think there's 6, maybe.
Okay.
All right. I don't feel bad that I don't know since you don't even know.
Yeah, I forget. I think there's PBR, there's Schlitz, Hams,
What was that? There's what?
Schlitz,
Okay.
Schlitz. You've heard of Schlitz, haven't you?
Shells, the current. Then there's 2 grain belts and Michelob Golden Light. So that's 8. There's 8 total beers.
Okay.
So most of them are kind of smaller breweries. Can you guys hear me okay?
Well,
Am I
actually,
just quiet to myself?
they're almost-
I'm bringing it
Okay,
low.
thanks.
They're almost all the same brewery.
Oh,
actually.
they're almost all the same brewery.
So
okay.
PBR, Hams, and Schlitz are all brewed by Miller Coors.
Okay.
Which is not small.
Yes, although Hams used to be made in St. Paul.
Right.
And-
That's why the old Hams building is,
Right.
Yeah.
being. What is that? What's been made into condos or apartments now?
I think they're trying to rezone it for something else. I don't know.
Okay.
I read something very quickly in City Pages about it, but
Well, speaking of hams, that is the next one on your list. First of all, what PBR makes it for a Minnesota thing? Why? How did you even throw it onto your list?
Well, my original intent was to just sort of get like a baseline because there's really no other beer that's such like a basic starter beer than PBR. You know?
Yeah.
So, and the purpose of the piece is that I think that there's a very large Tallboy culture in Minnesota. There's a lot of Tallboys, and I think it's very endearing. I think it's a very characteristic way to drink a beer in 16 ounces. There's a certain kind of beer that goes along with that, and that's what I kind of wanted to capture. And I didn't think it was fair to do it without starting with PBR because it's the reason why there's like a Tallboy renaissance,
right?
Because it ironically came back into style, and then other brands were starting back up. Like Schlitz was reinvigorated in 2008, and then they came back in Tallboys with the word Tallboy printed on it. Narragansett, which for my money is the best Tallboy ever, came back in 2005. All under the same circumstances. So
now, and you come here from the East Coast, right?
Yes,
that's where you're originally from.
That's why I love Narragansett.
But is that why out there are tall boys even a thing? Or is this
it's
a
just
Midwest thing? What?
It's just not as common.
Okay.
And like if you think about most regions have like a distinct budget beer tall boy. Texas has Lone Star.
Yes. As I learned from True Detective.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So, and
those
then,
are the cans he's crushing and folding up into little. Yeah.
And Seattle has Rainier beer, and it's like that's like their signature beer. But there's just so many here. I just wanted to see if there was one that you could say was the tall boy. And I think that it was worth considering some Milwaukee beers in here because they're super popular. Pabst Blue Ribbon being one of them, Schlitz being the other.
Now, and PBR is nationwide popular, right? I mean, that's
and they're based
hipster beer everywhere, right?
And they're based in LA too now. And but
that seems like a weird place for a brewery to be based.
Yeah.
Well, they're brewed by Miller Coors, but the corporate headquarters is in LA.
Okay.
So I don't know where they're brewed in the world. I was trying to figure out. Same thing with Hams and Schlitz because they're both brewed by Miller Coors, but you don't know
really
where.
don't even know
they
exactly
have
where it's coming out.
They have like 10 breweries in the country, and you don't know where they're coming out.
Sure.
So.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm a guy. I go back with hams all the way back to when I'd go up to UMD and visit my buddies in high school.
Why
and
does
drink
it matter
hams.
if you're
That's
a
where...
guy? I'm a guy.
No. I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't trying
I'm
to
a
say
guy who.
Yeah. No, that was not a.
It's like, well, I'm a guy.
Because I'm male. thing. No.
hams.
I'm a guy that I go back to those days of drinking hams out of a can. Now back then it wasn't a tall boy because that wasn't cool yet, but it was your 12-ounce cans of hams and it was by the case and it was you could drink them all night and you could barely get fucked up because they're 4.7, which is what PBR was as well, right?
So that was like
I think 4.7 was really the sweet spot. There's
There's
at least 3 beers on here that are 4.7.
Yeah,
So
you could basically call all of them 4.5 because they're all so close. Yeah.
Was hams your college beer?
No, but it gives me very great memories of UMD. That's all. Just partying up there. So it brings us to Northeast. Now, did you write when Northeast came out?
It was pretty recent. I think
it's a relatively new beer. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Within the last 5 years, I think. I forget.
I don't think I
mentioned it specifically, but yeah, it is a newer beer, and I thought it was interesting because it's made to specifically honor where the Grain Belt Brewery used to be in Northeast. Obviously, it's not there anymore, but I thought it would be interesting because it's supposed to be a portrait of this neighborhood and of Minnesota to see how well it really reflects that. I don't think it's a very good beer.
You don't think so? People go apeshit for Northeast.
It tastes like, so someone said this, they commented this on the article, and it could not be more true. They said it tastes like crunch berries, and it absolutely does.
Wow, I wouldn't have thought crunch berries necessarily. I wouldn't have thought good, but I wouldn't have thought crunch berries necessarily.
It's like it's got a level of ambition that I think is pretty typical of the Shells Brewery, where they kind of try to pass themselves off as like a microbrewery, and they have like all these like artisanal ales, but it's really just kind of fake and shitty. And like that's how I feel about like Line and Kugel or Blue Moon. It's like this weird macro style craft ale, and I just don't think it didn't really fit my idea of the tall boy either. It didn't seem like the kind of beer that you would want out of a 16-ounce can.
I think what Shells is doing though is smart. It's that in between is a good place to go. There's a market there for people that don't really want necessarily super whatever beers. They want something that's it might have a little hop character to it. It might have a little, but they don't do anything where it's over the top, and they don't really.
Right.
It's all. I don't want to say bland because that is so negative, but it is kind of their way.
Easy
They throw
to
a blanket
drink.
over it a little bit.
Easy
And,
to
like,
drink.
Yeah.
And it's good for like people who like don't want to go to a party and bring like Stone and get kind of laughed at, or like people who want craft beer for like a macro beer price, like they want to pay $7 for a 6-pack instead of 9 or 10. you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's particularly good. And for the purposes of what I was going for, I don't think Northeast fit that. I don't know why they put it in a can, although I think it's sold in bottles pretty widely.
Yeah, it usually is sold in bottles.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had it in a bottle, and I think it's fine. And it's fine on tap. But I don't know. Yeah, I guess the can aspect of it would be kind of strange.
Yeah.
I think it's right up that alley too, where it's trying to do something. It's not just your typical, like it's not just premium, but
Yeah.
but it
Right.
adds a little flavor to it. But again, they don't try to go too far. But I think there's an audience for that. And it reminded me, we needed to. Did you see the Budweiser spot in the Super Bowl?
Of
I know.
course,
Did
I
you?
saw it.
You didn't watch the Super Bowl. You're a big football guy.
I'm from Massachusetts. So
Just you know what though, I thought you were going to be the one guy from the East Coast that didn't give a shit about the Super Bowl.
no,
But okay,
I
I'm
really
glad you
cared,
were
and it
into
was
Okay.
beautiful.
And I'm sure you loved
It was beautiful.
well, I was rooting for Seattle, so fuck you both. But no, all right. So what's we got next? So the Shells. This
the current beer, yeah. This
no. I'm sorry. We haven't gone into Schlitz yet.
let's go to Schlitz.
Now. So Schlitz went away for a little while and then made a resurgence.
I don't know if it ever went out of production, but
in popularity at least.
they like redistributed it nationally in 2008. That's when like they brought it back. Because I remember being in college in 2008 and going to the liquor store and there being Tallboys of Schlitz for $6 and being like, yeah, I'm gonna drink this. So
yeah, I guess I have I remember Schlitz as like thinking that was like Grandpa's beer, and I don't even.
well,
think
that's PBR in a big
That's
way.
true too.
you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Like I mentioned Clint Eastwood, I think, in the blurb for this.
Can I read the
Yes, please do.
sentence of it? It says, "It would be a total twist of the scrotum to drink this beer warm, but cold. It's a shotgunnable template beer. Clint Eastwood would be proud to crush, made to be paired with salted nuts and consumed in bulk." That's a good line, Jerry.
Very
Thank
well
you.
done. And again, we should tell everybody too. Obviously, if you know where to pick up city pages, you can do that. But go on our Twitter at MN Pubcast, and we've got the links to his stories. AliveAndSocial.com has been putting them up too on social media, so you can go and read these for yourself. So, what do you put Schlitz in the whole pantheon of tall boys?
Schlitz it's a good beer. It's a really good beer, and I enjoy it. When I was in college, I don't know if I appreciated it so much because, I don't know, I was just kind of obsessed with drinking bad beer anyway, and I didn't really see an advantage to it. You know, I was kind of in that space, and I didn't think I was really leaving it. But, you know, it's a good beer. It's really plain, and, like, there's not much of an overpowering taste to it. I think it does a really good job going in and out. Like it's a really
Excuse me.
I don't mean like pooping. I mean like
Or
there's not like
what?
so you taste the PBR and it has like a skunky taste when you start, and a lot of beers have like a really like metallic or thin aftertaste, but Schlitz was like pretty even all the way through. And like it's a really great beer to just drink, and I can understand why grandfathers like it, you know.
But it's just a beer's beer.
Yeah.
I think that's, and we got into this last week. We talked about that Bud ad, and that's what my
craft
buddy Tim was
beer.
defending Bud in that, you know, some people just want a beer sometimes. And that's what I think a lot of these are, is they're just a beer.
Right, but there's a lot of problems with that ad, and we'll get into it a little bit later.
We will, for sure.
This is a man's beer. It's Beechwood aged, but it's a man's beer. But a lot of hard work went into it.
It's
But don't smell it.
or even taste it for that matter, really. But okay, now this beer I have not tried. Shell's 89.3, the current beer.
Yeah, so it's
now,
new.
Is this a beer that's going to stick around, or is this just a one-time deal? What's up with this one?
Well, I was really looking for a Shell's beer to include, but they don't really make a lot of them in Tallboys. I couldn't find any. I think they make the Deer brand in Tallboy, but it's not widely available. But this beer came out last year as like a cross promotion with the Current, and I think the Current is such a big part of Minnesota culture that it was worth including. But you can get it almost nowhere.
You
it is
mentioned that.
fucking pain in the ass to get. I went to Psycho Susie's to get it, which is a great place, and it was fun, but it was really out of the way. And then the only other place that they sell it is the Bachelor Farmer. and then there's like one liquor store.
You put the Bachelor Farmer with the Current with a Tallboy, and you've got yourself like the trifecta of all Minnesota hipsterness. That's perfect.
And do you think the exclusivity, if that's a word, is part of it? Is because you can't get it anywhere? Does that make it cool?
No. I think that the whole Tallboy thing is supposed to be the most widely available thing. Like, you're talking base level. You should be able to get it at every single liquor store you walk into, and that's really not the case with this beer. I mean, there's really no guarantee it's going to hang around. That they're going to do another run of it, because like once this runs over, no one really knows. It might just be a one-off thing, and I think that really kind of doesn't fit the culture of Tallboys. But I thought it was worth considering because I think there's a pretty natal tie to Minnesota in there with the Current.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
What did you think of the beer itself?
It's a pretty good beer, you know. It's like kind of in that same space as Northeast, where it's not really the right beer for the can, or at least in my imagination of what a Tallboy should be. So, I mean, it had like a really good body. It was like not a thin beer. It was a little bit bitter, which was good. I would drink it again. I don't know, my editor told me, she was like, do you like that beer? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I've had one in my fridge for weeks and no one will drink it.
That doesn't tell you good
Does
things.
any money go back to the Current? Support NPR?
Well, this is another thing, because they say a portion of every sale goes to the Current, but they're like really kind of cloak and dagger about it. You you never know how much it is, and I'm like always a little suspicious of things like that.
Right. It's like 10 cents,
But I mean,
5 cents.
I don't think
bullshit.
the Current needs to be co-branding with Shells to get any more recognition unless they're getting something out of it. But,
Right, I'm sure they're getting at least a little
Yeah.
contribution out of it.
They've got
But
it.
I would assume it's pretty low, like 10 or 20%. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, this one is. I mean, I would think that this would be number one on a lot of people's lists for Minnesota's Tallboy or official Tallboy, the Grain Belt Premium. That's kind of a staple, at least here in the Twin Cities. I'm not sure about throughout the state. I'd imagine it is. Your thoughts on Grain Belt Premium?
Oh, it's an excellent beer. Excellent. I drink it all the time. Usually, it's like the beer I have after I've had like one or two IPAs, and I'm like ready to mellow out. I could drink it all day. It's a really great beer.
Where does it rank to you? I mean, we'll get to where kind of what became the one to you, but it's got to be kind of a 1A, doesn't it? Right? I mean, that's
like
be right up there.
in like the pantheon of all the, I've had Rainier, and I've had Lone Star, and I've had Genesee Cream Ale, and like among all those cheap beers, it is definitely in the upper echelon. It's really a great beer, and it's so smooth to go down. And I don't know how you could really have a complaint about a beer like that.
We're taking sound bits so that we can get sponsorship. So just keep
Off of
talking.
you, yeah,
Just
this is
keep
right.
talking. Just keep talking, and we'll just keep taking it.
Grain Belt, you know you're from Minnesota when you're drinking it.
Yeah. Right. Perfect.
Okay, yeah. So all right, and we'll get to obviously where that is in your ranking here. But I love that you threw this one in here. It has to be for me.
Well,
because-
I mean,
go ahead.
It's like the quintessential Minnesota beer. You know, it's the one. And if you know anything about Minnesota beer, you should know Grain Belt. And I think it has a pretty synonymous relationship with Minnesota drinking culture in that regard. And although it wasn't the easiest beer to find in the Tallboy format. They do sell it like by the bottle a lot. Like when I was at Cuzzy's, if we talk about that piece, I got it in a bottle, and it's really easy to find in the can, but not always easy to find in the Tallboy. Although I think it fits that
It does.
format.
Absolutely, it's a type of beer.
Definitely.
But then you had to throw this in there because this is Minnesota, and this happens to be, and I'm not proud of this or anything, but this is just like you. After a few IPAs, if I'm trying to keep drinking for a while, but I want to be coherent, at least semi, I drink Mick Golden Light, and that is that goes on your list of tall boys.
Yeah,
and it has to. It's because it's a Midwestern beer, but it's huge in Minnesota.
So for me, this beer is a total conundrum. So I have a really good friend who lives out here, and she told me, she's like, "Oh, you have to have Mick Golden Light. It's like the Minnesota beer. I drink it. It's the only thing I drink when we're there." And it always blew my mind because I don't know anyone who likes Michelob at all. Any
version
entry
of
in
it.
the Michelob, umbrella.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this was probably one of the worst beers I had.
But it's to me, it's not even beer. Like
But
it's just to get me through. But
People seriously do buy it though, because I worked at a liquor store when I was like, I think when I was just turning 21 and wasn't a big beer person, and I was like, what's this MGL stuff?
Yeah.
I was like, we would stock the 24 packs of it over and over and over and over, and we get crates and crates and crates of this shit, and it would just fly out the door.
Well, what blows my mind is it's not like it's made by Anheuser-Busch in St. Louis or somewhere. I don't know. No one knows where it comes from.
Again.
But they just introduced it because they needed something to compete with Miller High Life or Miller Genuine Draft, and which is not a good beer. And so they introduced it, and for some reason, everyone here liked it. And
So weird.
That's the end of the discussion. No one knows why. It's just everyone decided that they were going to like it, and then they did.
And it's very similar to MGD, really. I mean, it's just another twist on that type of beer, too. And
Sure.
And I know that we are the type to jump on a bandwagon. I wonder if it was just, it's new, hey, and then it just stuck. And then I wonder, too, again, the exclusivity, though, because you can only get it in the Midwest.
Right.
I think that somehow makes people here feel special.
Well, I think that's what makes it a good candidate for like being like the signature tall boy of the Midwest or of Minnesota, because it's like this is the only place you can get it. You know, when my friend Britt would come see us in Massachusetts, she would just talk about how you can get it, like the same way I talk about Narragansett when we're out here. So it's like, I mean, Narragansett isn't the best beer in the world, but if I found it in a liquor store, you can bet your ass I'm going to buy it. So I could kind of understand that like sort of relationship with the beer that Minnesota has, and I had to respect it, but I cannot say I enjoyed it.
You cannot actually.
Although the number one thing that I think Michelob Golden Light has over every other beer is it has got to be the cheapest. It is so cheap, it's unbelievable.
Yes,
and maybe that's really what won Minnesotans' hearts over.
Well, we are frugal as well. Now, I stepped on the touchdown call a little bit because you ended up going with one we've already talked about as
of course.
The official one.
But I don't think there was ever really any doubt.
No, that's why the fact that I stepped on that was, how could it not be? Obviously, Grain Belt.
I think Hamm's was really the other one that had the most competition, because like that's another beer that was brewed in Minnesota forever, and was something that came out of St. Paul, and something that was like, I was reading some of the history behind it, and it's like literally people would just be like, oh, let's go have a Hamm's, instead of saying let's go get a beer, so like it has so much history. And I feel like because I thought it was so shitty, I thought they would take my driver's license away, because like people are in love with it. I went to a Super Bowl party and everyone there was drinking Hamm's, and that was it, and it's like,
it's that bear, man. It's that damn Hamm's bear.
There's a song and a bear. A song and a bear. That's really what sells beer around here, I guess. But
it works.
It was bad. Hamm's was bad. It's like really cidery and sweet and like crazy carbonated. If you can see the original picture of the version of the article that's online, it's like all it is bubbles. And it was, I don't know. I've drank it. I drank plenty of it. I also bought a 6-pack of that. You notice I drank it before PBR, but there was really never any doubt to me that it was going to be Grain Belt.
And as you say in here, plus fuck Wisconsin, so
that leaves out a few of them.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what dequalified Schlitz. I think Schlitz would have been a much better contender, but it's like the beer that made Milwaukee famous, and like we can't have that.
We cannot have that.
You've been here for how many months now, and you get it. I love that you get it already.
Did you drink a lot of Grain Belt before you came to Minnesota?
No, I never had it until I moved here.
Oh, were you looking forward to it, or did like someone inform you about it? How did you find out about it?
I mean, it's everywhere, and I remember like being in Mill City and seeing the big sign and like being, okay, well that's the beer I have to drink. And I do love like those regional beers. The first time I went to Chicago, like all I drank was Old Style, just because it's what they had.
I did
Old Style, also made by Miller Coors, also in a Tallboy, made somewhere in the country, so
also made to ruin your stomach. Yep.
Yeah. So Old Style, also not a very good beer, but I mean, I'll drink it. So that's another thing that I think really put Grain Belt over the edge, is that it's still made in Minnesota. They make it in New Ulm. It's not made in Northeast anymore, but it's made in Minnesota, and that is a huge advantage over Hamm's because they're made who knows where. Now,
I don't know where.
Although
don't ask me.
No one knows.
One thing I found out about Hamm's is the beer that's been brewed in the most different locations out of any other beer, because they've just had so many different distribution centers. They've been like all over the place, and they were brewed in Milwaukee for a long time before they were bought by Miller Coors.
What's up?
And ended up wherever they ended up.
I got some grapes coming in this
Yeah,
door.
come on in. Let's bring in the equipment.
Come on.
Well, actually, that's a good time. Let's take a break. We got to come back, talk the Budweiser commercial, talk a little Super Bowl since you are a Pats fan. And we'll do that right after this on the Minnesota Pubcast.
The Rusty Gatenby Review is the entertaining show about entertainment from movies, music, and more. Award-winning TV guy Rusty Gatenby and his review is the podcast with the biggest cast in entertainment, part of the Alive and Social Network. You can get that Minnesota connection to Hollywood and beyond any time of the day or night simply by clicking on the RustyGatenbyReview.com. That's the RustyGatenbyReview.com, part of the Alive and Social Network.
Welcome back. It's the Minnesota Pubcast, and then Pubcast, as we're just trying to, we're really pushing for
Eventually,
it.
it's going to be natural.
Are you sure there's no other podcast called the Pubcast?
Quiet, Jerry.
If we ever get sued, that'll be our day that we became famous.
There might be. We're not sure.
That's why it's officially the Minnesota Pubcast.
Official.
There we go.
Official. But on air, anything goes, man. Anything goes. We're here with Jerry from the City Pages, our favorite guest.
Thank you.
And we do have tons of guests.
We have so many.
To think that you're on the top of a huge heap of guests.
Guys.
You feel special.
It's nice you had me on Valentine's Day week, which I appreciate. That's so sweet of you.
Yeah. We're
Definitely
showing
on
you
purpose.
love.
Yep.
Showing you some love.
So, okay, now, obviously, he knows the Budweiser ad. Are you familiar with this Budweiser ad that everyone's been talking about?
We're not talking about the cute puppy. We're talking about... Well, I don't...
There's not a lot of controversy about the cute puppy. We all have to love the cute puppy one, right?
That puppy's too damn cute.
Yeah. If you have a problem with that one, fuck you. Stop listening to this show.
to apologize for that puppy. He's too damn cute.
Well, I don't know. As an advertising person, I have some qualms with the puppy.
That is manipulative.
It is very manipulative.
Nothing makes me want to drink more than a sad dog and some horses.
It's easy. It's too easy, man.
Yeah.
People want it, and then they just handed it over.
Have you ever known Anheuser-Busch do anything but the lowest common denominator?
That's true.
Which is pretty much what the commercial's all about.
It really is. All right, so you are familiar with the beer one. I got to say, last week I went off on it. I was pissed. I took it as a shot at anybody who loves craft beer. So I took it personally, of course. And I went a little overboard. You and I, we've talked about how much we love, people in the suburbs that are, wearing camo and, drinking the same beer that we are right now, but things like that, and I started kind of just going off, and that's the people who drink Budweiser and fuck them, and I was a dick, and I just want to say that I actually understand that those guys out there in their camo are the ones that make this country. They run this world. They're the ones that work and do the jobs that I will never do and I can't do. So I just want to say that I didn't mean it. I have respect for you Budweiser drinkers, but fuck Budweiser in that commercial. You guys are assholes.
We're talking about the blue collar workers of America.
Yeah, which I kind of went off on and was trying to bash, and that was mean.
Yeah,
but
mean.
Still, all right, so let's talk about the ad itself.
I wasn't here, by the way. This is why I'm acting like I didn't forget.
No, yeah, she was not here. We had Phil and host. So what was your initial reaction, Jerry, before we go into ours?
I just don't think it made very much sense. There were a lot of mixed messages in the commercial where it's like, we want beer that was made hard, and oh, by the way, it's Beechwood aged. It's the only Beechwood aged beer, and it's like, well, why are you trying to pimp out this quality measure that, and then you're just trying to be oh, it's meant to just be drank, and it also paints this really, I think, inaccurate and patronizing picture of people who actually enjoy beer, of being these curly mustache hipsters who are sniffing their Bell glasses, and of this, and the phrase they use is pumpkin peach ale, which is a fucking absurd beer that doesn't exist. Although there is one brewery based out of Seattle, I forget the name of the brewery, that makes a pumpkin peach ale that Anheuser-Busch owns.
Just bought,
yeah.
yes.
Right. And they have a huge umbrella of beers that they're, selling and distributing. They distribute Sam Adams, who was the first craft brewer in the entire country. So I thought it was hypocritical. I thought it was stupid. And I view it as when an animal is stuck in a trap and about to die, it lashes out. You know, it's like a desperation. It's like a death throw from them because they know they're getting eaten alive. They have no brand ambassadors in any of the like upcoming generations. No one under the age of 30 is like, oh, I'll get a 6-pack of Bud Heavy.
Right. I wonder if it worked, though, because I think the only way that ad is effective is that it could be for the person who does like Bud. It makes them, instead of when their buddies are drinking a craft beer and talking about how hoppy or whatever it is, it makes them go, no, I can be proud to drink this Budweiser. Yeah. That's what they were trying to do anyway. I did not get that from the ad at all. But that, I think, was what they were going for. It was saying, no, be proud to drink your Budweiser. You don't have to be some little snob about your beer.
And I think the person that this ad appeals to are going to be the guys that probably don't need any encouragement to already drink Budweiser.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
They're not making any new customers by doing this. And like, there's just like some dude who, you know, posted this YouTube video on his friend's account and be like, I told you you're a fucking idiot. Like, look what this $1 billion company said about the fact that you like to enjoy the shit you drink.
Yes.
But like the overall message, the real take home message of that ad is don't enjoy what you drink. Just fucking drink it and shut up.
Yeah. It was saying it's not about the quality, it's about the quantity, and just pour it down your throats and buy as much of this shit from us as possible. And it was a shot across the bow. It was saying, you craft beer drinkers are not as cool as you think you are, and your beer isn't as good as you think it is. And frankly, I mean, beer sales are, in general right now, down over the last few years as a whole, but craft beers are going up. So what does that mean? That just means macros are losing. So they're going to have to, you know, and I talked to somebody who I trust and that knows a lot about this business, and she thinks that just Budweiser should just take a break. Like, honestly, disappear like Schlitz did. Like, and we said we don't know if they really disappeared, but go away a little bit and rebrand yourself as like that cool older beer, like make it a classic type thing or something.
That's smart, yeah.
Or stick to the puppies and the horses, because that aired and everyone was like, that was so cute.
There was like hype leading up to that ad. People were like, there's going to be a dog with the horses. Look out.
Right, and people love the stupid Clydesdales. Yeah. People love the stupid golden retriever puppies.
I wish they'd make glue out of those fucking Clydesdales. I'm sick of it.
Oh my God, Jerry.
That old cliche though of pounding beers and puppies and horses. Like, they all, you know, they just always go together.
And like,
what is that anyway?
And like America, it's like, this is American beer. We're owned by a Dutch company. This is an American beer. It's just fucking stupid.
I forgot they sold out before
and
too,
like weird, and it's very dumb and manipulative. And I love that they're like, we're taking macro back. When has that ever worked?
And like somebody was trying to steal macro away. Like, no, you could have it. We don't want it.
Macro has always been an insult, and always no one would be like, you know what? We're just not making enough beers at one time. Like, if we could cut out all like the artistry, because like for a while they were like, oh, you scan the code on your beer and you can meet the guy who made it, and it's really nice to be nice and close to the product, and like you have a fresh by date, and they're like, fuck that shit, we're making millions at a time.
Make the biggest batch you possibly can make. Yes,
we take it back.
All right, now we are going to get to your other piece.
Sure.
From when did that one just come out? Was that just
it came out yesterday?
Yesterday, okay. But I do want to touch on the Super Bowl because Molly, we haven't talked about the game or any of this since it happened.
We haven't talked about it either.
And
so.
we suck.
You didn't even bring it up with me until 10 minutes ago.
I know, such assholes.
I mean, I guess I haven't talked to any real huge Pats fans, like especially somebody from out there.
From out there.
How fucking happy are you right now? Like, and how? Okay, let's just real quick. We don't have to go too deeply into this, but your emotions from about 5 minutes left in that game until it ended. I mean, that's a roller coaster.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was a glorious ending, but like, I had visions in my mind of Russell Wilson, who is this like terrible quarterback, and he's like just Drake in football pads, and he's like had 7 fucking passing yards in the first half, and then he throws this 40-yard pass that bounces off the guy's leg, and he catches it, and it's like, oh, David Tyree all over again.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Because it's been 10 years since the Patriots won a Super Bowl, and comparatively, that's a long time, you know?
Comparatively,
Jesus.
but everyone but you fuckers in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right.
You losers over here.
So, I mean, it was like, to me, it was like, oh, we're done. We choke every Super Bowl. We lose every Super Bowl by 3 or 4 points. You know, we lost to the Giants the first time by 3 points, 4 points the second time. And it was all because of those big choking plays, or like a play where just something miraculously stupid happened. So I was done. I was bummed. And when the final play happened, when Butler got that interception, I wasn't even really paying attention because I was just like
you were in that fog.
I was
right?
wallowing,
yeah.
and like it was second down, and it was like there was no way they weren't going to just punch it home from the 1 yard line, and then just like a miracle happened.
And they fucking threw the ball.
The worst play call. But all right, now were you worried about Tom Brady and Belichick's legacy with the whole Deflategate leading up to this? Like, especially when that play happens, aren't you kind of going, "Oh shit! Now everybody gets to bash them forever"?
Well, yeah. I mean,
even though they won 3 Super Bowls.
It's the same thing that happened in 2007, and when Spygate came out, and like that whole thing, that was really just a mess. And that whole season, 2007, is like, okay, we're going to move past this whole Spygate thing, and we're going to be the best fucking team. We're going to throw more touchdown passes than any quarterback's ever thrown. We're going to catch more touchdown passes than any wide receivers ever catch. We're going to break 51 records in a season, and then they lost it all, and that was such a justification to everyone who had ever had anything bad to say about the Patriots, and that sucked. But it was really great to walk out of that game with a win on a play that was like, it was the defensive player who went out and made the play, and there's nothing that can be taken away from that play.
There was the controversy that we saw in all those weeks prior to with a bullshit call that leads to this. Or
right,
that.
Like what happened in with the Des Bryant catch. There was nothing like that. Like,
the NFC had 3 games in a row that basically were ended by crazy plays. Like Detroit got screwed, Dallas got screwed, and then Green Bay got screwed. Like they all got screwed. And it was kind of, you were waiting for it to happen in this game, and it almost did.
Well, that catch does not deserve to be made by this nobody who just happened to, catch the ball, and it would have been a terrible way to lose the game, but in the end, justice was done.
Are you freaking out when Belichick doesn't call timeout?
No, I think he's particularly really good at clock management. So I think that like they were ready to call a timeout after that play, depending on how it turned out. But I think if they had scored, there was no way the Patriots could put together a scoring drive after that, especially if they squib it and they stop the clock and we're on the 40. There was no way we were winning the game if that interception didn't happen.
So really, it almost becomes smart to just let it be kind of chaos and don't give them time to regroup and just let them go out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there ended up being 2 timeouts in that whole thing anyway. But that last play, that was, I mean, you could have had a minute 15 before that last play instead of having like 25 seconds on the clock when he threw that pick.
Well, Belichick did say that he was ready if they were going to run it on second down to stop the clock. I'm glad they didn't just let him in like they did in 2011 against the Giants, because that obviously didn't work.
I've never thought that's a good idea anyway. You should always try to stop.
Well, see, I think the problem here is you think too far ahead, and that's what happened with the Seahawks, is they were thinking, Pete Carroll's thinking, we won the game already. Mm-hmm. And if you listen to his explanation to why he decided to throw the ball on second down, he's like, well, we had a play to kill. Well, then why are you throwing into man coverage on the 1 yard line? Throw it out of the end zone if you have a play to kill.
No, that's not when you kill a play. And you don't kill it with that play. You never run a play over a pass in the middle on the goal line as a killing play.
You score, and then you trust the best defense in the league to keep us from scoring. That's the way it should have been done. But I think it was just over intellectualized to the point where it was like, well, we need to think about what we do when we score on the next down. You got to play the down you're playing. And, I think that's kind of what the Patriots did when they let the Giants score that time. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to get it back with more time. It's just like, just try to win the game. That's just try to win the game.
What do you think of the conspiracy theory that Carroll didn't want Lynch to get MVP, so he didn't want him to get the carry?
I don't think if you're an NFL coach,
that's out there.
If you're an NFL coach,
I didn't come up with it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I swear to
No,
God.
I've heard this too. If you're an NFL coach and you're going for your second consecutive Super Bowl championship, you don't think about that.
No, who cares who's MVP?
And
I
also,
thought that was asinine.
Give it to Russell Wilson. He was running up the field all game. Give it to the backup running back. There's other options if they're going to run the ball in. I mean, the play wasn't an awful play. It was a really great defensive play. I mean, he was like really a centimeter from scoring.
It was the greatest defensive play I've ever seen, honestly. Yeah. I think it was, because everything about that play was perfectly defensively, because you had Browner, right, as the other corner that doesn't let him get picked, and then Butler to make that move on that ball. I mean, we talked about it last week that there's the overhead shot and there's a sideline shot. He's 12 yards away from the guy, it seems like. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's there and the ball's there.
Well, if you see the play develop, it's so obvious where he's going to throw the ball because everyone is so covered and he's the only one open.
Yep.
But what I love about it, the poetic justice of it, is that he's the one who got burnt on that crazy pass that got them downfield.
That's true, too.
So he's the one, and, he's just this rookie who's never made an interception before in his career, and then it was awesome. It was gorgeous.
He couldn't even, his face afterwards, I've never seen anyone, unable to get themselves to say anything. He was literally speechless, and the reporter came up to him, and she was like, "Oh, how did that feel?" And he was like, couldn't fucking talk.
Well, no, it was crazy. And his reaction, what he said after the game, too, was really cool because he said he knew he was going to make a play. And I don't even think he's talking about he knew the play yet, but he had this feeling come over him beforehand. And then when they lined up, he went, "Oh my God, I know exactly what they're doing." And then to make that play, I mean, I don't know how he could have even talked to the media for a week.
He also
that would be so messed up.
Took the ball right out of his hands.
He did, and he caught it. You can't catch that. Nobody catches that 99 times out of 100.
Well,
it gets knocked away.
When I first saw it, I thought it was just an incomplete.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, this is great. At least we'll go to third down. Maybe we'll force him into kicking a field goal and go to overtime or something." But when he caught it, I was like, I can't believe it. And then the penalty afterwards took away the safety.
Only chance, yeah. God, heartbreaking as a guy that's, I mean, I have a really good friend from Seattle who, I mean, he hasn't watched SportsCenter still. I mean, he can't. He can't.
Is he struggling?
Oh, he's having it so rough. And so, and I watched the Green Bay game with him, which was one of the craziest football games I've ever seen as well.
Yeah.
So I was really rooting for Seattle, and I always wanted. I mean, I loved when Spygate happened because I loved to be able to say, "Oh no, they're cheating," or they don't earn it somehow. And then I wanted to be like, "Oh yeah, see, they've still been cheating. They're not as good as we thought they were," and then they still.
Well, and then more details about the whole deflation thing comes out, and it's it turns out there was really only one ball that was underinflated,
and it was barely.
They had been checked, and it was, the whole thing was a circus for no reason. I think the fact that it happened in that vacuum between the last playoff game and the Super Bowl was well, what the fuck else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about Des Bryant for the next 2 weeks?
That was the worst possible timing for the Patriots. Just one more thing, since you're the big Patriots fan. What do you think of these fumble stats? Have you been seeing this that came out during the whole 2 weeks too? Apparently, when you compare the Patriots to any other outdoor team, they fumble half as much, which... they showed a statistic. It's you have a better chance of winning the lottery than that being possible.
Seriously?
And it's to me again. I was going, well, then they always deflate the balls, and so it'll come out that every time they do this, they've always had deflated balls, and it came out there was one deflated ball, and it's not really a conspiracy. But there's something to those stats,
I guess. But also, Bill Belichick is the most intolerant of fumbles ever. He benched Stephen Ridley all season last season because he fumbled. That
is the ultimate comeback to that. That's because he doesn't allow you to play anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is. If you don't catch the ball, you don't play. If you drop the ball after you catch it, you don't play. So I mean, I don't think.
Dang.
I don't think
he's like the J.K. Simmons and Whiplash of football.
God, I still haven't seen that. Damn it! But good reference anyway.
Thank you.
All right, let's take one more quick break. Wow, that quarter of a PBR got to me. And we'll come back and talk about Jerry's other City Pages column.
Hi, everybody. This is Alyssa.
And this is Liz.
And we're with the Focus Radio,
where our focus is to bring you resources to grow your business and double your income.
Join us on Mondays from 3 to 4 p.m. Central Time. TheFocusRadio.com.
Hi, I'm Terry Daniel, and I've been a voice actor in Minneapolis for over 2 decades now. How often are you getting compliments on your voice? Now is the time to do something about it. If you're interested in getting into voiceovers, please contact me via my website at universalvoicetalent.com.
Put it on like a turban.
I just had it on like that. You missed it.
I'm gonna take a photo. It really does look like a turban.
While they're playing and taking pictures, I'll tell you, we're back on the Pubcast.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to put this on the old Twitter.
Jerry, you look like
this can be the thumbnail.
Good
look
look.
like Osama bin Laden right now.
Isn't that cold in here?
Yeah, I just my hair is awful right now, and it's it's like I don't think I've showered for a while.
Put your head down.
Jesus. So he's so everybody knows what we're doing here. He's got a winter hat over his headphones, which is a really good look.
With this background, it looks like those Bin Laden tapes from
This is not the most flattering thing you could say about me.
Well, I don't know. You got your beard, and then you got. Okay.
It honestly is the way the hat looks.
I think it's more like
it.
Sway from MTV.
Oh, okay.
I just got my dreadlocks tucked under it.
Oh,
Also,
man.
I've always wanted to be compared to Sway.
That's a lifelong ambition.
I mean, like, how great is it that he's got one name and it's just like
Sway.
a verb?
That is about as cool as it gets. That's
Like,
true.
share is not a verb.
No, just sway. All right, let's talk crabs. I mean, wait a minute. Let's talk crab legs.
Yes, crab legs.
Tell us about your latest piece.
So I Cuzzy's Tavern Cuzzy's Grill and Bar. Cuzzy's Tavern is like in some
Cuzzy's Grill and Bar. That's really what it's called.
yeah. So
Settle down.
there's a
God.
there's a Cuzzy's Tavern somewhere in the suburbs. There's
Sure.
and there's another one too. There's like this family of bars, but this is a bar that's actually right down the street from the City Page's office, and it's like really big with the staff there. They always go there. So the first time I ever met the editor of the paper, Pete Kotz, I met him there, and I noticed that they have a Wednesday night crab leg special, and being in that bar and thinking of getting seafood was just like absurd to me. I was like, first of all, we're in the middle of the country, so I mean, crab
always
legs come
kind of
from
absurd,
Alaska,
yeah.
so it's pretty fucking far. It's
Yeah,
like
the seafood here sucks.
well, it's different in terms of Massachusetts, for
No.
sure.
It's different.
For
as
sure.
in a week old.
So
No, unless you're at the expensive
borderline
spots. Yeah.
rotten.
Yeah.
so I
Kidding.
I just wanted to go and try it because like crab leg night on Wednesday is a big thing in Minnesota. I found out because like Stella's has a special,
Okay.
and also the Uptown Bar and Grill, they have like a crab feast special too.
I know Jake's like in the suburbs does them on Tuesdays or something too. That's
yeah,
another.
it's like
Dang.
crab feasts are like a thing here. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to go and try this and see how it goes. Because like when I was conceiving it in my mind, I was like, there's two possible ways this can go. One, it's going to be like this amazing revelation of an experience. It's like, it's so worth it to go into this shitty little hole in the wall and get these crab legs because you won't believe how good they are. Or two, like, this is just as awful as I expected it.
I was so right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just figured I'd go and try it, and like I thought it was like a nice journey. I like to write about dive bars and to talk about places that are kind of scuzzy. Like I like Cuzzy's a lot. I would go there and hang out all the time.
It sounds like a cool place. to
You've
hang out.
never
It
been?
does. No, I've never
Oh,
been.
we gotta
so
go.
it used to be a brothel, which I found out.
That makes it even cooler.
And then it got shut down. They cut the second floor off, and now it's just like this tiny bar. The parking lot is twice as big as the bar. It's amazing. I can't believe it. You would never see something like that in
How
Boston.
many tables are in there?
I don't know, probably 15 or 20.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, not many. They have a nice big back patio, but the inside of it for the winter is cozy.
Yeah, so it's pretty small, and it's like Cheers. If Cheers was like just a crazy rundown shitty bar, the people who go there are like just there all the time, and they're just like barflies. They hang out on the stools.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm welcome back there because I started talking to one of the regulars. She's, sitting there by herself, and I was like, hey, and I was like, how's it going? And I was dancing up on her, and I was like, woo. And the bartender turns to me, and he goes, is she fucking talking to you? And I go, no. And he goes, well, then why don't you leave her the fuck alone? And I was like, okay, bye.
Yeah,
My kind of bartender.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
like
that.
Right, right.
No,
He
it's
was
definitely
like,
the
he was
type of-
like, don't
Not
fuck with the
taking any shit.
locals, man.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with the regulars.
It's definitely the type of place where people go to just drink and not fucking talk to anybody.
Totally.
Or talk to the same person. They don't want you dancing. If you're dancing, you're not welcome there.
No, that doesn't sound like
did
they would
not
like that.
me.
Yeah.
They
No,
did
that's-
not like my dancing.
So
don't jump on the bar next
I
time.
was
or
not
anything.
having fun.
So I have respect.
too much
I have
fun.
respect for that place because it's like that. It's like a drinker's bar, and I just thought it was like maybe there's something I don't know because it's like a VFW. Like the VFW in Uptown is like one of the coolest places to drink, but you better not be having too much like fun there. But I also wouldn't get crab legs there, so I went and I tried it, and it was an interesting experience.
And crab.
I've eaten crabs plenty of times. I'm not like a crab expert, but this was my reflection on this crab.
But I feel like people from Massachusetts have a best Massachusetts.
We can speak well.
I watch a lot of Deadliest Catch,
Right, there
but
you go.
that's about as far as I go.
But I feel like the crab out there, like you have it once out there, and it's like 10 times better than it would ever be here.
I guess it comes in frozen from Alaska, and you just
You really can't get crab from the
probably
the
not
good
snow
old
crab.
Atlantic?
No, not snow crab. Like you
Yeah.
like blue crab, which is a little
Yeah.
different. You eat it a lot, or soft shell crab.
But The soft shell crab is good up there.
Yeah, I mean, I went to school in Maryland. It's awesome. But, you know, I knew what I was getting into. I've had snow crab plenty of times before, and it's good. It's really, really good, and it's worth, like, you know, the fun of, like, taking your fork and, like, ripping up the side and getting
it's
it
all
out.
about the process.
Yeah,
when you go
and,
to eat crab
like, the
legs.
ritual, right?
Yeah.
That's what's the fun part about it. That's why they
Make a
call it
mess.
feast. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just the legs, right? Like those huge ass legs. Because if you've ever, I went to one once where you had to crack the whole body.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so gross.
Yeah,
it's
so
so fucking gross.
they give you probably, I would say, like 4 clusters, which is probably 2 crabs worth of legs, and you know they all come with like a knuckle, and then there's like legs off of it, and sometimes you get a claw. So
Cool.
you do have to crack it, but like it's not like you're not like taking the back of the shell off and eating the eyeballs and shit like that. It's not
Right. No, that weirds me out. And then you get like the weird yellow shit in there, like
The
the stuff
roux,
they haven't,
yeah.
that they haven't digested yet, and it just tastes gross.
I can't eat anything with the head or the eyes attached still.
No,
I'm
you can't do the
I'm
prawns
passing on
with
that.
you can't eat the prawn head, which apparently is the best,
No, absolutely
the
not.
best part of it, the whole
God,
thing.
No. But let's. So specifically, this crab, you say, unfortunately, it was not great nor awful.
No, it was just okay. And like that's an
That's
awful
almost
narrative.
a good thing, though, right? Like because you, like you said, you were expecting it to be awful, so at least it's edible.
What really blows my mind about it is how many people were just like on Yelp and being like, I go to Cuzzy's every Wednesday night and I spend, you know, it used to be $15, which was like an astronomically good deal, but
Yeah.
I just can't imagine doing it every week. But it's fun. It's like a fun occasional thing to do. And it would have been great, but they were so cold. Like by the time I got to the end of it, it was like, why did you even cook them? You know, it was really bad.
I think you did say something about the butter being the same temperature
Yeah.
or warmer. That's
Yeah,
never
the butter,
a good thing.
right? And this is butter that's never been solid before, so.
And you got the mashed potatoes instead
Well,
of...
the mashed potatoes was the worst decision I made, because like they were just, there was so much gravy, and it was like, what the fuck is it? Am I eating this with seafood for? You know?
Those do not mix at all. And you were even
Yeah.
saying how it started feeling like surf and turf because it was
Yeah.
like beef in the gravy, basically.
Yeah, because it's beef gravy, you know.
That
and like,
does not work for me.
you know, I just thought it would be like a little more hearty, and because you know, like crab legs are a little bit more delicate. I should have gotten tots. I now see the error of my ways, but you know, I had a lot of finger stuff going on. I wanted kind of something else, but
Tots are always the answer.
yeah, they weren't terrible. Like me and my girlfriend, we had a really long discussion about whether or not they were from powder or not. We were like, we're trying to figure it out, and which is never a good discussion to have when you're eating mashed potatoes. Eventually, we figured out they are real potatoes.
That's good.
They have the chunks in them.
Yeah, that's how I knew.
Yeah. You get a little bit of the real potato in there.
And that I appreciate. I like a chunky potato. I'll deal with that, but it was like a little crusty. I don't know. I just feel like they just have like these meals ready to go,
Plated up already under
right?
the,
Like
under
those
the
crab
lights.
legs have been cooked like a half hour ago, and they're just like waiting.
Well, you have to. It sounds like, I mean, that place is probably full on those Wednesday nights, I'd imagine.
It wasn't that full. No.
Oh, really? Okay.
So when I got there,
By the Yelp reviews, I was thinking it must be a
yeah, I
popular
mean
deal.
maybe because it goes for it's like 4 to 8. So and we were there around like 6, so maybe we were a little early, but there was one other table. There was 3 people splitting it, and like they looked like they were having a good time. They were having a couple of beers, and then like a family came, like this guy's wife and their kid came, and like this guy was just eating them, you know, and feeding them to his kid, and I was like, they must.
were they just watching it?
Well, I was just like, what really kind of drives the piece is the fact that I see this kid, and I'm like, what the fuck is this kid doing here?
Like, you don't belong.
I would never bring my child to that place. It literally said boner 4 inches from my face, like just on the wall.
The $1 bill turned into boners.
Yeah, I just can't like imagine my son being like eating this crab meat and then be like, Dad, what's a boner? I'm like, oh, just eat your crab meat and shut up, kid. You know? But like, I don't know, maybe for him it was worth it, and that's what he wanted to do, and like that, I guess, you know, maybe I just had too many preconceptions about the place to really get down and enjoy it, you know. And it was good, and you know, my girlfriend and I, we split everything, and it was a really good meal for 2 people, and at the end of the day it was $9 each, so like,
Dang,
Yeah.
that's a great deal.
yeah.
And you didn't have any middle or post vomiting.
No, yeah. So, I mean, it's nice to get on the show and not have to talk about my vomiting for once. So,
Yeah, it
It's
is
true.
good.
And again, go back and listen to the Christmas one if you want to hear
Yeah,
about
there are
him
some
puking all over the
graphic
place.
puking descriptions, but no,
Yet
it was fine.
necessary.
I mean, someone again, I read the comments and everything. So, like, you little fuckers that are trying to troll me, it's working. Someone
Don't tell him that,
Someone
man.
had said like, you Minnesotans are like, you always think that everywhere you eat, you're gonna get sick. And first of all, I'm not from Minnesota, so
And I didn't know that was a Minnesotan thing. That we
Yeah.
think everything's going to make us sick. Nothing makes me
Well,
sick.
I think because we probably eat pretty
Blandly, yeah.
We think that
Oh,
other
sure.
people think that we eat bland, boring shit like potatoes
to avoid
and
all
casseroles.
things
Yeah.
that could possibly
Well,
do
and our
something to you.
stomachs can't handle it.
Yeah.
Anything else?
But like walking into this place, it is absolutely reasonable to think that you're going to walk out with food poisoning, you know?
just the sheer amount of used dollar bills on the walls that you have to pass through, like that's a lot of E. coli.
And also,
floating in the
money
air.
is dirty. Money
Very
is
That's what I'm
filthy.
saying. That is E. coli central.
Yeah.
So, and like, I didn't really think that crab legs would be their thing. Like, I know they make a lot of burgers, and like, it's one of those bars that has like a world famous burger, you know, like every other dump in the world. But I didn't really think that like they really had the nuances of making crab meat. But I mean, they did a really good job cooking. It was cooked perfectly. It was just not soon enough, or not recently enough. They did a good job. It was quality stuff. I enjoyed it, sort of.
Well, for the price, you
Yeah.
got your money's worth. I think is the bottom line.
Right. I think like the compelling narrative in food writing is always this is cheap, but it's better than its price tag, or you pay a lot and you get a lot. It's never like you pay what you get and it's just okay. Like that's never an interesting narrative to be like, I went to this restaurant and, I had a pretty okay sandwich. That's not going to get anyone out there. If you tell them like, oh, this sandwich was $4 and it was pretty good for $4, or if it's like, this sandwich is $25 and it's totally worth it, that's the compelling thing.
It sounds like more to you, though, is more the atmosphere than anything. Like it's not about the actual food or anything else there. Now, in the piece you talk about, there's no mirror in the bathroom.
Yeah, and the men's room, there is a mirror in the women's room.
Well, yeah, I guess there has to be. But that's funny. I bet women wouldn't put up with it. The guy can handle it.
Okay.
Well, actually, I don't know
most
if
of the guys
women have
wouldn't
ever
want
been
us
in that place.
That's
so.
true, too. That's a good point.
I got kicked out when I went in, so.
Now, is there a TV in this place?
Maybe. I don't know. I think
It's not sports-centric, obviously. It's not like that kind of a
no.
bar
It's like
at
the
all.
kind of place where people just stare into their mug.
Yeah.
And just think
okay.
about like alimony.
and their third wife and things like that.
Yeah. Like. So.
Oh shit.
It was an interesting environment to do this kind of ritual in, because I feel like you don't feel like this is the kind of place you can get down and dirty, because you don't feel like you have to impress anybody, or like it's also so dark that people can't even see. We were there at 7:00 and it was like really dark, and so no one really has any high expectations of you. I have a long beard and I'm sure I had shit in my beard the whole time, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah,
the waitress wasn't like, sir, so it was great. And I think, that's something you should really embrace about it, is that you can go there and really just make a pig out of yourself and get butter up your nose and just like...
You just can't dance.
Yeah, don't dance.
Don't have too much fun,
Don't
I think is the
have
bottom
too much
line.
fun.
No, going through the crab is like an obligation.
Yes. Yes. An internal fun. No,
Like,
no outward fun.
You're only having fun because you have to have fun in order to get the food.
Yes, exactly. It's a complicated dive bar, Jason.
I think I get it. I'll have to check it out. I don't know. I want to try the crab legs. I haven't had crab legs in years, so I have to try that out.
And maybe don't start there.
Well, yeah.
Well, but you've made it. You have really just touted these crab legs to such a level that I have to try them.
Well, I don't. Cuzzies like tweeted something at City Pages, and they're like, "Thanks so much for the kind words." And I was like, "Was I really that nice?" Like I like the place, and I say that, but like I don't know. The original piece before my editor got to it was a lot more graphic, and like just like I had a lot uglier feelings about the place, and I appreciate that, because like I kind of grew up going to shitty bars all the time, and I enjoy that, but I certainly wouldn't bring a child there,
Yes,
Like-
but that makes it kind of cool too, right? That's
Yeah.
what makes it redeeming somehow.
Well, I mean, I think you really got to be like the kind of person who knows the place in and out if you're going to bring your kid there,
Sure.
Like, I think of all the bars I went to in college and like kind of post college and that time, and like if I had a kid, I would never bring them back there. But this guy was like, he knows the place and he's had these crab legs before, and he's like, okay, I feel safe about it, even though like
7 on a Wednesday. Is that what you said?
Yeah, and there's literally like a waft of cigarette smoke going in and out there, because there's the door in the back and then there's the door in the front where people come in.
So it's
Yeah.
still kind of smoky, like it would have been 10, 15 years ago. or
I
10
mean,
years
yeah,
ago.
I mean, I would imagine in the summer it's probably even worse, because there's a lot of people going in and out of the patio.
Oof. Well, if you really want to
Yeah.
get that old school flavor, that old school pub feel, that would be it right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that it really does try to sell itself in its website as being like a family bar, like
What family?
Well, there's this place down the street from where I grew up where we used to always go get like hot dogs, and they had like some video games. We used to go play Street Fighter and get like a foot-long hot dog, and like there was a smoking and a non-smoking section before they made that legal. And this place reminds me a lot of that, but like just 20 years after they stopped carrying.
Which I like. Real quick, you got anything coming up that you want to plug that you're working on coming up in the City Pages?
I mean, just keep your eye on the Hot Dish blog on citypages.com and also on Gimme Noise, the music blog. I write for them a lot.
Nice. All right.
And your Twitter?
Oh, at JG Fagerberg. You're never going to spell that, so just go
to ours. You'll find it right there.
Google
We've been
around.
retweeting them.
And pick up a copy of the print edition of the City Pages. It looks much better in print than it did online.
It's cool, man.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for coming back, Jerry. We'll have you on again soon.